Hello, everyone, and welcome to Positive Forward Motion. This is your host, Denise Scattergood. I am so happy you're here. I recently had the opportunity to speak with Winston B. Clements, and I'm sharing this interview with you all as a very special holiday gift. Winston will share his wisdom and firsthand knowledge of how to not let life's limitations define us. Despite the fact that Winston was born with brittle bone disease and has broken over 150 bones by the age of 12, and he's only 3 feet tall, his passion, purpose, and message is so big that his message is inspiring people all over the world. Winston is on a mission to inspire 1 billion people, and I know you will be one of them. Winston B. Clements is here with us today on Positive Forward Motion. Winston, it's an extreme honor to have you. I know you're extremely busy, and I cannot thank you enough for being here and helping our listeners learn about how their limitations are an illusion. I was so excited to know that your mission is to inspire 1 billion people. And after getting to know you, I have a feeling you're almost there. Without further ado, Winston, please say hello and tell the audience a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. And actually, Denise, the honor is mine to be here and be able to share with your audience. And actually, in a sneaky way, I think you're helping me a little bit towards my target. So I'm hoping that anyone listening to this will get some value, and hopefully I can be of help and service to them in some way. Just to kind of give a brief background, and also bearing in mind there are people who cannot see me at this point. So I was born with a condition known as Brittle Bone Disorder, which meant that I am about 3 feet tall. I use a wheelchair, and I guess the most traumatic part of the condition is that I broke a lot of bones, especially when I was younger. So I think we worked it out. I broke about 115 bones by the age of 12, and it's been, I guess, more than 200 in my lifetime. I am 33 years old at the time of this recording. I guess, but maybe even more interesting than that is, despite those issues, those physical limitations, I was able to figure out ways of not just getting through life, but actually thriving and being able to achieve some interesting things which we can dive into. And I guess my whole mission and my whole purpose is to help others, although you might not be facing brittle bones disease at the moment, but to help you overcome your limitation in whatever shape or form that might look like. So that's a brief background.
Absolutely. And we all have obstacles and adversity in our life, both personally and professionally. And my takeaway when I met you and watching your TED Talks and looking at your mission, you talk about taking extreme ownership and that we have choices, how we handle adversity in our life. So touch a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, no, extreme ownership it sounds a bit scary, I think, when you hear the word extreme, it sounds like extreme skydiving or something like that. But I think for me, this idea of ownership has been one of the pillars that has helped me with my mindset, especially considering perhaps I wasn't dealt the best of cards with my physicality and my health. And so applying this mindset, this mantra of extreme ownership has helped me to almost focus on the things that are within my control. So I guess that speaks to controlling the controllable. I guess one way of illustrating this is, life is it's gonna happen to all of us. Even if you haven't got a disability, life is gonna punch you in the stomach from time to time, and that could be through another health condition. It could be through a financial situation, a relationship issue. And so, what do you do? What do you do in that moment when it seems like you're facing a insurmountable obstacle? And that's why I believe ownership comes into it. And to almost apply it in my context would be to say, hey, I've got this massive, physical limitation, right? And so, I've got a couple of options here. I could say, hey, this is just bad luck. I'm disabled. I use a wheelchair, so I'm not gonna try to achieve anything in life. And anyway, society doesn't even expect people in my situation to be go-getters and to be successful. So I've got the perfect, I guess, excuse to just kind of sit back and let life happen to me. And for me, that would be almost playing the victim mindset, so playing the victim. And then on the other end of the scale, so the complete opposite to that would be to be in extreme ownership, which would be to say that, hey, it's true that I haven't been dealt the best of cards, but how can I find a way to win with what I've got? How can I control the things that are within my remit? And a lot of that usually comes down to your attitude, your work ethic, and how you keep stepping even in the face of adversity. And in terms of practicality, how can someone listening to this apply this mindset into their situation? Some of the ways that I do it is, through accountability. So having somebody who you really trust, and not just trust, but somebody who's going to call you up on your own BS. When you're playing the victim, when you're, when you're hiding, when you're sticking to your comfort zone, you need that kind of person to push you. And I think, that's been a theme throughout my life, surrounding myself with those people who allow me to borrow their strength or their beliefs, even in those moments when perhaps I haven't got it within me.
I love that you say that. Quite often, we talk about on our show how important it is who we surround ourselves with. And you mentioned, people expect and the unexpected. So, with your condition, brittle bone disease, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned you broke 150 bones by the age of 12. I
Mm-hmm.
believe we've spoke earlier, and you mentioned, I mean, you could break a bone by someone picking you up or just rolling over.
Mm-hmm.
And to take that into context, and you thought, no, okay, everyone could probably expect me to just lay low and, feel sorry
Mm-hmm.
for myself. And no one would really blame you, right? Sometimes we go through such hardships in our life that someone may look and go, oh, I don't blame you for feeling that way. But when you do the unexpected, you take that and you're turning that
Mm-hmm.
into this power to share with others to say, hey, I could certainly just roll over and lay down and say, I'm not, this is my life. This is how it's going to be. But to be able to share your story with others
Mm-hmm.
and to share and do the unexpected, really, I believe is so much of positive forward motion. You're taking that one step at a time to move forward and to share with others.
Yeah.
Don't allow your limitations to stop you. They are illusion. You can make them stronger, or
Mm-hmm.
you can dismiss them. I look at it like, you're crushing them. And what point in your life, what would you say with the audience, did you have an aha moment where you just thought, enough, these are all the things I do have that I can work with, and that's what I'm going to do? Or was it a slow, looking back now, a long process of one little step at a time?
Yeah, it's probably the latter. So I mean, there have been, I guess, a couple of bigger aha moments than others, and just because I've made it this far, or just because I'm doing what I'm doing today, or maybe I'm doing stuff which perhaps even I wouldn't have expected to be doing, doesn't mean that I'm always super resilient, or I'm always that I have a good day every day. I still have my ups and downs, like everybody. And I really like what you touched on earlier, just there, on how we all have this, we all have an excuse that we can lean on, almost like the excuse on a silver platter that we can all choose to hide behind if we want to. And and in a way, that's an attractive option, right? Because when you hide, when you have that excuse, then whether it's a disability, or a financial situation, or a family situation. When you have that thing, the easier option is to hide because it lets you off the hook. And so it actually takes a lot for you to extend yourself and say, actually, I'm gonna step out of my own pity party, and try and do something different. So I thought that was a really key message that I wanted to reinforce. But in terms of aha moments, one of the topics that I speak on mostly now is on resilience. And resilience is something that we talk about a lot, and it's spoken a lot, publicly, as a really good mindset to embrace. And I always like to make the distinction between resilience and perseverance. Mostly because I used to get confused between the two myself. But what I've come to really embrace and love about resilience is, with perseverance, you're just getting through stuff. You have a difficult, situation at home or difficult finances, whatever. You hate your job, you just keep going. With resilience, and this is what I love about it, it still has an element of perseverance, so you do still keep going with that 9 to 5 job that you hate. But the added magic is that you grow as you keep going, right? So perseverance is going and resilience is growing. And for me, I've had many moments going back to aha moments, I've had many moments, whether it's when I was younger, as an example, and my parents sent me to school, and they could have sent me to a regular school or a special school for the handicapped, and they decided to send me to a regular school. And so I had to figure it out in the same way as all the other kids. And it was tough in the beginning. I had my challenges and had, like any other kid, with fitting in and just learning about myself and learning about building relationships, which is what every other kid has to go through. But then on top of that, I also had my physical stuff going on. So that was a huge moment for me. But I believe that's one of the best gifts my parents ever gave me, because it allowed me to just figure things out, learn about my strengths in terms of connecting with people, building empathy, building relationships, making people laugh, and not actually focus on just the things that I couldn't do. So in that sense, and there's been several moments, several learnings in my life where I've just had to take that obstacle and kind of try to see what would be the opportunity that could be hiding behind it, because that's where the growth lies, that's where the resilience lies, and you're not just getting through it, but you're getting through it and coming out better.
Oh, that's amazing. And watching some of your speeches, you do have a great sense of humor, and it's it's very endearing. And to recap, I wrote this down and I want to make sure that I heard it right, because this is a book, mister. You need to write this one. I love it. You said perseverance is you keep going. That's what perseverance is. But resilience is how you grow
Hmm.
from having that perseverance. Is that how
Hmm.
you said that?
Correct. Yeah.
I love that. I am putting that in my back pocket. That is wonderful, because it is the more we keep moving forward, stepping forward again, no matter how small that step is at the time, you are persevering through it all and not giving up. That creates that stronger
Hmm.
resilience that allows us to grow and move forward. And being a motivational speaker that you are, and a keynote speaker on adversity and doing talks and all of these things did not happen overnight. It happened because you
Hmm.
persevered. And as you persevered, you learned what to do, what not to do,
Hmm.
what worked, what didn't work. And that resilience, and the world needs to hear your story, because you're right. Like you said, you don't have every day you wake up, let's go, it's a great day. We're human. We all have our tough times, no matter how strong our mindset is. And what would you say maybe is your one thing, your go-to, you're having a tough day and you say, Winston, all right. And you tell yourself, what do you tell yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I'm having my tough day and I'm trying to literally just think to a situation that's happened recently, so I have a few go-to things. One of the reasons why I might be feeling overwhelmed, or I might be feeling stressed, is perhaps because I haven't been in routine, and this is just my daily living routine. So whether that's what I do in the morning in terms of meditation and prayer and journaling and all those good things for the mind, to my exercise. And you might think, well, like you got brittle bones, you exercise. But yeah, I do. And for me, exercise is stretching and movement, and anything that sort of gets the blood pumping. I think is a key part of my routine. And then also to to like my relationship. So, that's my relationship with my partner or my relationship with family. If I haven't spent enough time with friends and family for a minute, that could be a thing that could be contributing to what I'm feeling at the time. So that's sort of, I guess, on the one hand, from a lifestyle perspective. And then on the other hand, specifically in terms of mantras or, affirmations and things like that I use, I think a lot of the time it could be that I'm about to try something completely new, which should be relatable to many people listening to this because it's that fear of the unknown. And for me, one of the things that I'm very fortunate to have had, but I believe we all have it to some level, is that I've always believed that I came into this world for a greater purpose. I mean, had no idea what that would look like or anything like that. But I remember even from being a young boy, I always just thought, that I want to have an opportunity to leave a mark on a global scale. And so for me, when I'm in those unknown moments or have to do something different or step into a new environment, what really helps me is to reconnect with that feeling of why I do what I do, who it is that I'm trying to help, and at the same time adding that extra layer of external accountability by surrounding myself with the right people who again will push me and help me almost step beyond the imposter syndrome or any other poor mindsets that might be holding me back in that moment.
Very good. And they're very great reminders for us all. I agree with you. We all have purpose. And it sounds like you tap into that inner superpower that you speak about, but it's not just always there lit up. And to identify and pay attention to go,
Mm-hmm.
okay, why am I feeling off? So to get back to the basics of a routine and family and surrounding ourselves with the right people, and then pulling back and remembering, hey, what is my purpose? What is my why? This is what I want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you regroup, reset, and go. So we all have setbacks. We all have, and if it's fair for me to say, I mean, anyone who, and I hope the listeners go on YouTube and look you up and find you on your TED Talks because you're so inspirational. And to be able to say, well, look at Winston. I mean, he was born with brittle bone disease, broke 150 bones by the time you were 12, and it hasn't stopped, right? I mean, you're still dealing with this on a daily basis. And
Mm-hmm.
to say, well, you've overcame and your mission is to inspire others,
Mm-hmm.
but every day you have this challenge with you to overcome. And I often say when I'm training and teaching as well is our obstacles and our challenges are ours. No one can say that theirs is bigger or stronger, or
Right.
we can put that in boxes and say, well, why are you worried about that? That's not such a big deal as somebody else's. But it is a big deal to the person who is in it at the moment. And to say, it does matter to me, but what
Mm-hmm.
can I do to move forward? What can I do to be resilient? What can I do to help others? Just like you have a massive disability and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing what's unexpected. And again, I think that's a great reminder for us all to go, what one thing can I do today to help me move forward? And by doing that, it helps others see, okay, we can do this. So sometimes the purpose may be to have empathy for others, or to, when you overcome something, we're better able to help others see things in a different way and to say, don't sit down, right? Keep on going, keep that strong mindset and keep moving forward. And you talk a lot about choices.
Yeah.
And one of the things that always resonated with me that I listened to in one of your speeches was win with what you've got. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I just love that. Win with what you got rather than think about all the things we don't have. Win with what I've got.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that speaks a lot to perspective. I think perspective is such an important thing. And like we touched on, there might be someone listening to this who then goes off and looks me up on YouTube and they're like, whoa, he looks like he's got a lot of problems. And, you know, and again, it's about perspective because, like you say, it's very hard to compare your problem, someone else's, and I don't think you can say that one is bigger than the other because to that person, their issues, their locking the keys inside the car is the biggest thing in the world in that moment, right? And and what I really like about that as well is that it speaks to sharing your story because I often get approached by people, for example, people who are interested in public speaking. I'm a speaker, so I get a lot of questions on that topic. And one of the sort of limiting beliefs that people have had is, they don't think their story is interesting enough or, exciting, sexy enough, whatever. They just think it's just my story. But every single person in the world could say, oh, that's just my story. Even I could. I mean, breaking 150 bones sounds interesting to other people, but to me, it was just day-to-day life and still is. So it's sort of how can you use your story, your message, and you don't have to become a speaker, but the problems that you solve or the challenges that you overcome, you could actually become an example or a beacon for somebody else or a reference point. And it might even be someone who never approaches you. It might be someone who just comes across a post that you did on social media. Basically, you don't know who you're inspiring by putting yourself out there, however that might look in the world. And so, sort of circling back to winning with what you've got, it's kind of using what you've got because I believe, I'm a Christian and, whatever faith you have or whoever you believe in, I believe we're all here in this world for a purpose. I used to see my situation, with the disabilities and everything that comes with that as a challenge, maybe even a curse. But now I've actually been able to, I guess, reframe that and be grateful that this situation has given me the platform to hopefully help one or two people who are listening to this right now. So, and I believe that's one of the ways you can win with what you've got. You start where you are.
Amen, mister. Absolutely. To shine for others. And I'd like to touch very quickly in social media. It is really, I believe it helps, but it may have also stopped some folks from sharing their story or say, my story is not good enough. I put my story out there, but I only got a couple likes, but no one is really getting it. And it's not really helping anyone. And if folks give up, too soon. And if our story, as you mentioned, helps one other person, and oftentimes we're not getting that immediate gratification or that immediate affirmation that what I just
Mm-hmm.
shared is helping folks to be authentically you, to find that fire. And as you say, that inner superpower, and to say, I have a purpose. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to be. And you could be coming out of the elevator, and that person left behind in that
Mm-hmm.
elevator could have been extremely inspired by a hello or a positive word or a thought that you left for that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is our purpose. I'm with you that is our purpose. And as we do that, and as people see that,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you are a TED Talk and, you're building a platform. We all have a platform. We have a platform when we leave our home and
Mm-hmm.
the first person we run into, or how we drive our car and let someone through, or we smile and we say hello. We all can help one another. Absolutely. And I want to thank you so much for shining your light on so many and helping others. And if there was one positive forward motion message to leave to the audience as we are moving into, it's December, it's holidays, it's a new year. This is oftentimes where, a lot of folks stop and, do a little checklist and say, okay, what is it that I want to do? If there was one positive forward motion message that you'd like to leave with the audience today, what would that be, Winston?
Mm. Yeah, so maybe I'll share a couple of things, and one of them is sort of a bigger message, and then I'll share something a bit more practical. So the bigger message would be, and I think it ties in really well with what we just spoke about on purpose. And this was a piece of advice that was given to me by a coach, someone who I really admire and worked with a few years ago. And he talked about how he believes that we all have a purpose. We all have a calling. We all have something greater to give and to leave behind as a legacy. But on the flip side, if you go and step into that purpose, that calling, then you vacate the space for somebody else who perhaps hasn't got a as pure motive as Denise, as Winston, as the person listening to this right now, to step into that space and maybe not do things in the right way or the way that they should have been done, positively if you were to carry the mantle. And so that's a bigger message. And so I guess coming out of that would be to say, as we approach this holiday season and as we begin making those New Year's resolutions and setting yourself up for the coming month, then I would encourage you to really journal and to really think about the things that give you meaning. Because purpose sometimes sounds like a big scary word, but if you can find meaning in all situations at all times. You can find meaning whether you work, whether you work in a 9 to 5 corporate job or whether you're a, musician or rock artist or, in the public eye in any way, shape or form. So if you start to think, how can I actually find more meaning, in a corporate situation? It could be getting involved with extra things such as, many of the big corporates will have social responsibility initiatives where you can volunteer or where you can spend time with people who are less fortunate than you. And, you could just incorporate something like that once in a while into what you do. Or, even if you're just a family person, you could find more meaning by actually spending time being more present with those that you love, which mightn't be as simple as just switching your phone off when you're having dinner with your family so that you can truly connect with them. So the more you can find those things that add meaning, I believe the more aligned you will feel with what your greater purpose is. And so that's something that I'd like to impart and definitely encourage the listeners, anyone listening to this right now, to just be intentional about that. And just start now. It might be uncomfortable to make those adjustments, but start now before you're ready, because the potential reward is undescribable. It's exponential. And hopefully that helps.
Start before you're ready. And thank you so much. When you shared purpose can be a big, scary word. And you're right. People go, oh, what's my purpose? I'm trying to find my purpose. And I love how you put that in. Find your meaning. What matters to you?
Mm-hmm.
When you do what matters and you find your meaning, you naturally are moving in to your purpose. And that is a wonderful message for all the listeners. I want to thank you so much for joining me today and wish you and your family and friends a wonderful holiday season. And you are, so I don't have to tell you to keep up the positive forward motion, because you are keeping up the positive forward motion. And I'll be sure to put in the show notes and everywhere everyone needs to know how to find Winston B. Clements, Clements. Find his website on YouTube. You are inspiring so many, and I want to thank you so much for sharing your gift with others and not being afraid to shine your light so bright.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you so much, Denise. It's always good to catch up with you. And, for anyone listening to this, and if there have been things that have resonated, then don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to carry on the conversation. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening in today. I encourage you to visit winstonclements.com. That's Winston, Winston, Clements, Clements.com, and help Winston to reach his goal to inspire 1 billion people by spreading his message of positive forward motion. You can also do this by sharing, rating, and reviewing this podcast episode. And you're going to also want to download the quick reference sheet PDF of this episode. It includes all the links to learn more about Winston and show notes to help keep you inspired throughout the year. You can find this by going to denisescattergood.com or email me direct, denise@denisescattergood.com, and I'll be happy to send a copy your way. I'm wishing you all a very Merry Christmas, a super happy holiday, an amazing, successful new year. Remember, your limitations are an illusion, and no matter how small your step is at the time, as long as you keep moving forward, that's what I call positive forward motion.